Welcome back to another episode of Don't Shoot the Messenger. It's myself, Culturecams, and this is episode 8. And as I say every week, if this is going to make you mad, it's going to make you mad. But listen, I'm going to have to start this one on a little bit of a, what should I say? Should I say a sad note? Because, of course, this week we lost one of the greatest footballers of all time, man. Like, some might say the best, depends what generation you're coming from. And of course, I didn't see him play live or anything like that, but you're not a football man if you don't know about him. And that's, of course, Diego Maradona. And the world is in mourning. And this is just, I'm not too sure what's going on with this year, but with all these losses and stuff that's happening. But one of the greatest basketball players ever passes away, Kobe Bryant, and now one of the greatest footballers ever. So sport has taken a major L this year, and you seeing people. You saw Messi score, and dedicate a goal to him. You saw, if you check in social media, things that don't even have to do with football spoke about him. Like, he's transcended the sport. And of course, one thing that I saw this week as well in regards to it is how angry still to this day the English media and the English people are about his hand of God goal. Listen, of course it was controversy. Of course, listen, we cannot deny that was controversy. But what is football without controversy? It's what we're having today. VAR, offside this, no goal this, all of these decisions, this takes the controversy out of football. And sometimes controversy can last forever. And this hand of God goal, for me, I'm happy it happened. I have no issue that it happened. It's a great moment in football history. It's something that, as I've mentioned to my friends many times, if you went to school and you never tried a hand of God goal, I don't know who you are, man. Everyone growing up tried a hand of God goal at least once. So his influence stretched beyond imagination. As I said, when I was in school, when I was a little kid, I'm in year 6, I'm in all these ages, whatever. And I know about Maradona's hand of God. It's a legendary moment. It's a classic moment. I'm not too sure why the English media are so obsessed with it. It's happened. As I've mentioned, Diego Maradona said it himself. Yeah, he scored a hand of God goal, and you can talk about it for generations and generations. But England won the World Cup off a goal that didn't go in. So all of this stuff about a VAR, da-da-da. If VAR was about in them days, England would have no World Cup to their name. So when we're talking about controversy, let's not leave that bit out. Let's not leave the bit where we won the World Cup through luck, you can't really say luck. It shouldn't have happened, simple as. So the same way you can do with Maradona with his hand of God. Yeah, he done nothing. He done something. But hey, let's talk about his great goal that he scored. Let's talk about scoring arguably the greatest World Cup goal of all time on the same game. So yeah, he wants to cheat on that moment, but he's going to dump on your head in this moment anyway. So all of this stuff about, which I like about Gary Lineker, because he just, whatever. He's okay with it. It's happened. He's gotten over it. But a lot of this English media are still bitter over it. And some of the articles that have come out about a great man like Maradona after his death, I think is a bit distasteful. I mean, it also leads me to drop it, just as I've got to say as well, RIP to Papa Bouba Diop, who actually died today. So RIP to him. I remember his goal against United for Fulham in the rain. Some screamer in 2005, I think it is. Crazy. And if anyone go on YouTube and go and watch that, it was a mad goal. I think it might have even been a toe punt. I don't even know, but it was a screamer. But so RIP to him as well. Died at 42. That's real sad. Diego Maradona died at 60. But talking about Maradona, it leads me to discuss, do you think you'll ever have a football man like Maradona anymore? Like some of the personalities and stuff that were there back in the day. The Mavericks is what they call them. That Maverick mentality or that Maverick kind of personality has gone out of the game. And I was discussing this with my friends in my group chat. Like, the reason why Maradona is so loved is not only because of what he did on the field. Yes, all the cocaine and all that type of stuff, depending if you like it or not, has affected or has boosted his profile. But it's not just that. It's just the way he was, the way he carried himself around. His personality was in his football. The way he lived his life was the way he played football. But do you think there's people like that out there anymore? I feel like now, everything's a little bit media trained. Everything is a little bit, what should I say, a bit preppy. Everything is perfect. As soon as you come out, my friend mentioned, as soon as you come out you're a millionaire now when you're 18. As soon as you come out, you've got agents around you, you've got management, you've got PR, you've got publicists, you've got everything. You got everything for you is just made for you. Whereas back then, it was a little bit more hardworking, more graft, more about your personality, more about how hard you are to get to the top. And I'm not saying that this day and age, people don't work hard to get to the top, but a lot is given to them early and a lot is made to protect them from early. And I was speaking with Carlton Cole about 3 weeks ago, and he mentioned that as soon as you get a scholar now, you've got somebody that social media manager, blah, blah, blah. Whereas back then, you're just living your life, you're just expressing yourself, and it's just you. You're in charge of what you do. Of course, you still had agents and stuff, but the way you carry yourself was always about you, should I say. And you got to look back at some of the players like back then, the Maradonas, the Gascoignes, all these type of characters. I think if they were in today's day and age, it wouldn't happen. You couldn't have a player like that no more. You couldn't have a player that's that expressive. And I don't know, for me, is that killing the joy out of the football? Is that killing the joy out of the game? Possibly. Because it's good to see that sometimes. It's good to see people express themselves in that way. And yeah, sometimes I think when I'm looking at the game, I'm like, it's a little bit boring. I know you're going to come out. I know now a player's going to win 3-0. A team can win 3-0 and the player's going to come out and he can score a hat-trick. The player's going to say, I'm happy, but the most important thing was that the team got 3 points. I already know the player is going to say that. He's going to talk about only the team. He's not going to say anything to big himself up. He's not going to say, whereas, let's say even in the NBA, if a player gets 50 points, 10 assists and 10 rebounds, he's going to big up his chest. So why is it if you score a hat trick now, you got to be like, it's just the 3 points. There's only the 3 points that matters, blah, 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 blah. You do get some personalities, of course. Someone that's notable, for example, someone like Akinfenwa. Look at the way Akinfenwa carries himself about, and it's refreshing. Everyone loves him. It's refreshing to see. I would love to see that from more players or athletes. And let's say Jose Mourinho, for example. Everyone, okay, you can love or hate Jose, but at least he's a real guy. I feel like I know Jose because he expresses himself. He's real. And look at all the classic moments he's given us. LVG, all these guys. The reason why they're so divisive is because of how real they are within themselves. They're no gimmicks. I feel like a lot of times now everyone's a bit too, you know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. As I said, don't shoot the messenger. But let's move on from that. I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I've seen this weekend. And honestly, I mean, I've seen some stuff in the Premier League that I'm just like, if it happened, and it was even last week as well. I think it was, who was it? There was somebody that scored a goal where it was like the halfway line. They got through at the halfway and they just ran and scored. Welbeck, that's Aston Villa. Okay, so Welbeck's goal be Aston Villa, right? If that was to happen in the La Liga, what would people say? If that happened in the Bundesliga, they would say Highline League, rubbish league, blah, 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 blah. But it happened in the Premier League and it's like, everyone's silent about it. It's just about kind of the arrogance. I've touched on this before. The arrogance a little bit of Premier League fans is crazy because I was having a discussion again with my boys and we were talking about Sheffield United. We were talking about this. And when we were talking about Sheffield United last season or the Premier League, because I've always been saying the Premier League is getting weaker, people were saying, nah, the reason why the Premier League you may say it's weaker is because the smaller teams have caught up to the big teams. That's how I was told. And the example that people were saying is, look at Sheffield United. Sheffield United, with 5 weeks left to go for the season, they were battling Champions League football. They've started this season, they got 0 wins, 9 losses in 10 games. So has the Premier League just dramatically improved to make now Sheffield United relegation candidates? Or is it just a weak Premier League? Pick up a little bit of form and it carries you through the whole season. That's just a question I got asked because the same example that I used is I said to somebody, credit to Simeone, man. Like people thought he was done out here at Atletico, and he's they've kind of rebuilt, and he's gone again. They might win the league. And somebody said to me, it's dead. He has to win it because Barcelona and Real Madrid fell off. The La Liga's dead. But I'm like, hold on. Because when Man United and all these teams fall off, it means that the Premier League's good. But when Real Madrid and Barcelona fall off, it means that the La Liga's dead. How does that work? Because they said, oh, Sociedad at the top. That explains it all. Oh, but when Leicester are top, it's fine. Or when Spurs are top, at the end of the day, if we're talking, what if Spurs, they've never won a Premier League. They haven't won a title, a trophy since 2007. So we can't be dissing Sociedad and be bigging up Spurs. No disrespect to the Spurs, but at the end of the day, you've not won nothing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's a situation where you've got to compare it. You can't now say the La Liga's dead because Sociedad are top and Atletico might go and win it, but then say the Premier League is strong when the same thing is happening in our league. Very hypocritical, and I think it's something that Prem fans do a lot. Why can't Sociedad have scored 21 goals, conceded 21 goals and conceded 4. 21 conceded 4. Do you know how good that is? That is so good. We can't now just say, oh, the La Liga is weak. Then you've got to keep the same energy for when Tottenham are top of the league. Keep the same, because Tottenham are in the Europa League, can I remind everyone? This strong Tottenham that we're talking about, they're in the Europa League. So a Europa League team are title contenders in the Premier League. Oh, Prem's weak then. Prem's weak. You got to keep the same energy, because if Sociedad, Prem's weak. No, La Liga, do you know what? La Liga, Real Madrid, Barcelona falling off. Why can't we bring up the strength of the La Liga? Why do we have to say, oh, it's dead? I just think people just don't keep consistent with that. But going back to the Premier League about me thinking it's a little bit weaker, of course things are going to affect. When you've got a team like Sheffield United, you need fans, man. You need fans. They need someone that's going to get behind them. They're not that good in terms of their players. But I saw it. There's 2 teams with 0 wins and there's 2 teams with 1 win in the Premier League. We're 10 games in. 10 games in. Between 4 teams, there's 2 wins. Between 4 teams. The relegate... Honestly, the standard is horrible. When you look at West Brom, they're horrible. Fulham, horrible team. Sheffield United, terrible team at the moment. And there's one other team. Is it Burnley? It's Burnley, right? Shambles. And to be honest, a lot of us were, on my podcast, we were saying, you know, the bread and butter football is what gets you out of relegation zones and stuff. But this season, Burnley struggling. West Brom, Sheffield United, those are 3 teams that you'd say are bread and butter, old school managers in charge, and they're all drowning. So maybe it's showing, as I've mentioned before, when there's no fans, when there's no 12th man, there's none of that, contributing effect. It comes down to how good are your players, how quality is your players, and of course those teams just ain't quality enough. That's not got enough quality, and it's just as simple as that, and it's showing now. But this is what I've seen before, but now all it is that the fans ain't there, and it's gonna be an excuse that, oh, okay, because the fans ain't there, this is why they're so poor. But nah, these teams have been poor. They've been poor, but people just can't see it because they might see them higher up in the table and stuff. But this is what kind of gets on my nerves about it. Like, how can you not see that a Burnley or whatever? I like them managers. I like them old school kind of managers. I think you should keep them in the game. I call them real men. You know what I mean? I like the real men in football. And to be honest, it's an up and down season for the real men, to be honest, because you got Simeone flying, Jose kind of doing well. So that's one side. But then you got the Wilders and Billick, and they're struggling. So it's a yo-yo thing right now. Do you know what I mean? But hey, I'm an advocate for it. But again, just to go back to previously, I want people to let me know if they think there's any mavericks in the game now. If there's any mavericks, if there's any personalities, anyone that is, what's the word I'm trying to find, that kind of brings excitement through personality, basically, in the game, in today's game? Or do people think that it's just too PC, too protected, and too covered, basically? So that's my question for people. How long is that? was I been talking? 15. That was 15, yeah. So it'll be a little bit of a shorter one this week. Had a mad little week, you know what I mean? Had a mad little weekend. Can't go too much into that, but it is what it is. So listen, guys, that was another episode of Don't Shoot the Messenger. As I said, if it makes you mad, it makes you mad. There shouldn't be anything that makes you mad this week, in all honesty. I was good this week. I just came, gave you a little bit of dialogue, paid my respects to a great man. So there shouldn't be anything that makes you mad, in all honesty. But if it does, it does. I don't really care. Do you know what I mean? So shout out Messi. Hope Aguero and all these lot are okay, because I know he couldn't play because of that. So yeah, that's me, and I am out. See you,